Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my channel as we look at the Gemini New Moon happening on June 6th, 2024 at 8:37 a.m. That's Eastern Time, so be sure and adjust for your location on the planet. So there is a clear theme here in this chart. Can you spot it? Yeah, all the Gemini energies, including Venus conjunct the Sun and Moon for this new lunar cycle. And this, in fact, plays off of the Venus full moon that was exact June 4th. So I'm going to touch on that here shortly, but let's take a look at the specifics first of this chart. So every new moon is when the sun and moon are conjunct at the same degree and same minute. So it's 16 degrees of Gemini, 17 minutes, where the sun and the moon are beginning a new cycle together that will unfold over the next 30 days. And this new cycle highlights how you are connecting and integrating with Gemini energies in your chart. So you would identify where you have 16 degrees of Gemini. Now, as you can see, with all the Gemini energy going on here, this part of your chart is very active. But this new moon wants a new start, a new beginning in the Gemini themes of communication, personal expression, being more intentional and thoughtful with your words. See how this is occurring at 16 degrees? Well, that's the halfway mark. It's just past the halfway mark of the Gemini sign. So there's something here that is a transition into learning how to speak up or share your thoughts in a new way, understanding the power of words, being aware of what you're saying and not just speaking to fill in the silence or to say everything that's on your mind. It's sort of like the Gemini energy can unconsciously have that spoken stream of consciousness going on that sounds like a radio in the background. This is where we're learning to take a beat, take a pause, and be clearer in what you're saying. Also, this relates to the mind. Gemini is not only what we talk about, but it's what we're thinking about. And you could realize where your mind is heavily focused, what you are processing a lot, what's consuming your energy, and perhaps you're ready for a new way to approach that. Gemini involves our local environment, and that includes the people around us. This is the people you live with, the people in your neighborhood, the people that you hang out with, your peers, your social circle. Gemini is where you go in a day, how you spend your daily energy. Gemini also relates to what we do that's interesting, that is stimulating, that gives us something to contemplate and learn about. I feel like with this very strong Gemini focus here, we're also learning that there's things we need to get off our mind. Maybe you need to write it out or express it in a new way. And it's going to be easier to do so, especially after the new moon, with this Jupiter in Gemini. And this Jupiter at 2 degrees of Gemini has been in a trine to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Now, they were exactly trine on, I believe it was late May 30th, May 31st, perhaps even June 1st. And what this is doing is raising and elevating our communication habits, having us see things that we're ready to elevate. We are ready to step into more of our capacity to be powerful communicators, to be very intentional and aware of what you want. Jupiter trining this Pluto brings in decisions, clarity, something forceful that you either need to say or express, or something that you're aware of in yourself that is evolving. And this is a very rare energy that could show you what is not working anymore and what you're ready to change. In fact, what you're ready to do differently, but in a supportive, empowering way. So, for example, this is the energy of speaking your truth. And that's what Pluto wants. And the trine to this Jupiter in Gemini is about making a decision and standing in the clarity of your throat chakra to make an announcement, express an idea. Perhaps there's something you want to improve. I mean, this is great energy for public speaking skills, for doing something where you're being seen by others. This is wonderful for any kind of expression that allows you to move something from your head into the world at large. So note that this particular new moon is activating throat chakra energies very powerfully. And because of this, you're going to also need to be clear in what is a no. And that's also something that this Pluto wants. And that could be something that has been coming to your awareness that is now more evident and clear during the new moon. So the new moon being a beginning point of an energy cycle, what are you intentionally ready to practice? This could also be a part of your life where you've been learning and studying, and then you move into the teacher mode. And that's part of the Gemini dichotomy, where we are always students and teachers at the same time. And you might be feeling that flip. Conversely, you could be a teacher in some area of your life, and now you're searching for something new to understand, to explore, a new genre of books or something else that is grabbing your curiosity and would be quite interesting to explore and learn about. So this energy wants you to be agile, wants you to stay flexible, wants you to be open to what presents itself, to what shows up. This is also about understanding where you could feel too scattered or too restless during this Gemini new moon. And in fact, you could be needing an outlet for everything. This can also be mental fatigue, just being exhausted from everything going on in the mind or around you and needing a way to balance it so that it isn't diminishing you, it isn't exhausting you. Now, a new moon that is conjunct Venus is a new beginning in what you are learning to express from a place of self-knowingness, self-love, and self-awareness. Venus is about our capacity to relate and receive, how we feel seen, confident, how we love ourselves, and how we're able to then extend that energy out to our communications and to others in our world. I feel that this conjunction with the new moon carries forward the exact superior conjunction that Venus had with the sun on June 4th. So just 2 days before this new moon. So when you're watching this, that could be an energy that's coming up or has passed. But essentially, June 4th to June 6th is when Venus is traveling with the sun. And the sun is illuminating what Venus has been learning about herself and her needs since June 2020. Now, back in time, in June 2020, Venus was retrograde here in Gemini. And this Venus retrograde had what's called an inferior conjunction to the sun in Gemini, which was called a new Venus. And that began a new 4-year cycle that is now reaching its peak here in June 2024, where over the past 4 years, Venus has been learning about her self-worth, her personal needs, what she is correcting and course correcting, what she thought she knew and is realizing, oh, I'm ready to do that differently. I'm ready to improve my skills. I'm ready to understand how I can be a better communicator, that relates directly to the heart chakra, to what I need, to say in terms of my truth and who I am. So yes, a 4-year cycle, a 4-year process. If you were to look back on that, you might see what was changing in your life, in the Gemini areas of your life. Keep in mind that the Gemini area of your life here that we're talking about has had a lot of retrogrades. So there was the Mercury retrograde, the Venus retrograde, the Mars retrograde, not to mention the North Node in Venus came through here too. This part of your world, the Gemini area of your life, has been unsettled, very perhaps diverse and on the move. Things always are changing. You've had to remain very adaptable, quick decisions. And now, with Venus conjunct the Sun, there's something here that you're seeing in yourself in a new light. And this new moon is giving birth to a stronger, clearer, I see throat chakra directly connected to the heart chakra. So something to express that maybe you've kept private or internal. And this Venus is gaining new consciousness and new light. And as she's also conjunct the moon, that relates to her emotional world getting on board with clarity of what you're thinking, of what you're feeling. This is a powerful alignment here. A new way of sharing your thoughts, expressing what you need or what you want, where you've had to go through a process of learning things twice or learning things the hard way. And perhaps I keep being pulled back into childhood energies because of the moon and because Gemini is our first experience of school. And so this could be preschool, kindergarten, early elementary education. This goes back to your first imprints of being around other people in a classroom and where you were either encouraged or shut down to share what you're thinking. I'm getting the visual of a classroom, raising your hand, I have the answer, and then perhaps feeling like I don't want to speak up, I don't know the answer. This could be, always wanting to sit in the front row, always wanting to sit in the back, wanting to get lost in the crowd. There's something about early education here and being around other people's energies and how that impacted, I'm going to call them communication habits that were established younger. And there could be something that you're witnessing in yourself when you were the student and now you're the teacher, when you were the child and now you're the parent. It feels like this is part of the duality that is getting into new alignment. And it feels too like part of this is setting a very important understanding, a new concept that is going to be highlighted as Jupiter moves through this part of your chart into 2025 and brings alive more of your choices and personal expression. Jupiter is actually known for not being strong in Gemini because Jupiter is furthest away from its home sign of Sagittarius. So when the Jupiter energy is debilitated and in its detriment, it doesn't perform as clearly or as well, and it can all be too much. So we really need grounding here with all of this Gemini energy. It's about stopping to take a beat, to breathe before speaking, to maybe exercise or move the energy before making a decision. If you follow human design or you're aware of human design, this is absolutely about trusting your decision-making process and allowing that to be your guiding force, allowing your decision-making process to really come alive for you and be integrated into how you live. Now, with all this energy here in Gemini, you've probably noticed we have a square from Saturn squaring the new moon and these three in Gemini. Saturn at 18 degrees of Pisces, 58 minutes, is moving very slowly, as Saturn will station retrograde June 29th at 19 degrees of Pisces. So this is a slow moving Saturn and is actually wanting you to check in on your spiritual progress around communication skills. Now, Saturn squaring the moon, the sun, and Venus is some kind of reality check, a slowdown, and frankly, that could be welcomed if this Gemini energy is moving too fast, if it's too much. I feel like this Saturn is asking you to check the details. Because when there's so much Gemini, you can overlook the specifics. Double check your plans. Verify where you need to go, what time, all those details. And each planet is going to move forward to 18 and 19 degrees, where it will have an exact square to Saturn. And that is some kind of stop. Stop and listen to your intuition and your feelings. And I think that is how this Saturn in Pisces is reinforcing what we're here to integrate and learn through that spiritual lens. Because if you see Pisces as your intuition, your higher self, and Gemini is the mind, clearly there's so much mental energy here in June that you might not be hearing the whispers. And so any kind of full stop that occurs during this new moon and a number of days after, as each planet gets to 18 degrees here, is a full stop that's in your best and highest good to check in with how you're really feeling and your intuition, because it can be easy to be caught up in something interesting, exciting. Oh, that'd be fun. Let's try it. Gemini can say yes before thinking it through. But then when you stop and listen to your body or listen to your energy, you could realize, I'm actually really tired. I don't have room for one more thing. I would rather take a break than go to that happy hour. I would rather have an afternoon to myself and get caught up on things that matter instead of saying yes to everyone and everything. So this Saturn squaring the planets in Gemini is a no. And there could be a no that you say or someone else says, they change their mind. Because all the Gemini energy, when it's overactive and scattered, it's too caught up in the immediacy of the moment. And this is your energy saying, it's okay to do less. It's okay to step back, even if it disappoints, or even if it feels like, if I don't do the thing, I'm going to have FOMO. This Gemini new moon is asking you to be more conscious in your words and what you're agreeing to by checking in with your energy and your intuition, by checking in on what you need to take care of in yourself instead of sacrificing your needs or what you prefer for others. And plans will change with this energy. I mean, there's so much moving around here that you could feel like you're juggling quite a bit. And in fact, the slowdown and the desire to do less will continue to be a trend in June as each of these planets in Gemini, Mercury, Moon, Sun, and Venus, all move through. And not only do they square Saturn, but then they're going to square Neptune, hanging out at 29 degrees of Pisces. And this is a surrender. Neptune is going to require you to give up something. It's going to require you to say no, or it's just going to be removed. It's just going to be taken out of your calendar, out of your awareness. Something's going to be removed from your daily experience because Neptune is actually wanting your mind to take a break. And this is an interesting Gemini season because, again, not only is Jupiter in Gemini for the first time since 2012, 2013, but all these planets moving through Gemini are very happy, very perky. You know, they got a lot to say. They want to be funny. And then they meet up with Saturn and Neptune that's like, actually, that needs to go. That's over. That's done. And by the time these planets get into Cancer, you're going to feel a relief. So Gemini season just has a strong theme of removal and doing less, which could feel like it's not normal for the typical way that the Gemini energy wants to operate and wants to show up. So you could feel that there's a tug of war between the Gemini areas of your chart and the Pisces areas of your chart, that your energy is split, where you want to put up a do not disturb sign on your face. And then there's so much going on over here that you've still got to keep your pulse on things, like what's happening, what's going on. You can't lose track of it. It can be a very scattered energy, but because it's a new moon, you're meant to be more intentional around a yes and no decision making. That's what I would say is featured here. If it's the right yes, Saturn and Neptune will make sure it happens. If it's the wrong yes, they're going to take it away. It's going to fall apart. It isn't going to happen. So with this Gemini new moon, look at what is energetically correct for you. Practice your decision-making strategy through your human design. Mars is about to move into Taurus, which will be a slowdown, could even feel like a full stop, because this Mars loves the fiery action of Aries. And then in Taurus, Mars slows down and says, now wait, what's on my credit card bill? How much do I have to pay for that? What's involved? How long is it going to take? There's a different mode that Mars moves into in Taurus that will slow down the Gemini process and energies. So I hope this has given you some good insights into how to work with the Gemini new moon. Stay adaptable, stay flexible, keep it light. Keep it light. Know that change is happening. A lot of change is happening throughout June. So don't be too locked in or fixated on particular outcomes or even your own expectations. Just keep it light, keep it open, go with the flow, go with the changes. And by the time we move into Cancer season, and especially when this Venus and Mercury move into Cancer, it's going to feel like, okay, yes, that was the right decision. That was the best move. I'm glad I didn't overcommit or even say too much or take on too much. Wishing you a beautiful Gemini new moon. I hope this helps you navigate these energies in June. And I will see you back here soon for another video as well as for another podcast episode. Take good care and happy Gemini new moon.